Okay, folks, welcome back. Well, when I was waiting for the signs to dry yesterday, off camera, I started working on this next car and doing something I've never done before. And that's not switching out the tires, but the tires were the wheels. That the axle between them was way too small. So I wanted to have a little end of the nail here at the end. So I just took another set and chopped them off. And we're gonna hot glue gun this into place. And I think I want the back raised a little bit. So there might be other ways to do it, but I'm not going to go out and buy these rods. Especially when I'm not interested. They make other products if you want like the wheels to move and such, but I'm not really interested in having the wheels roll. It's not something you actually want. Yeah, it's probably good just to take some pressure off of it. Man, I need to just go out and buy freaking tweezers. Except I gotta go to like a model show to get them. I could use having several pairs of these. We'll have to remove this now. I took too long. But again, it's not that big of a deal. I did not have this ready. My pit crew was not ready. When I do this again, I'll probably go about it a little bit differently. This is my first attempt of doing this, and we won't use something this small. Yep, that's just not going to work. Okay, so we'll take this other set. Not that one, this one. That we don't need. These are cheap ass wheels, probably dollar store car, something like that. Not really dollar store car, but come on. Yeah, of course that's not in there. All right, we'll go find another one. I'm not gonna go hounding around the ground for it. You find the shittiest ass tires you have that you're probably not gonna use. These in this case. The tires are on the original, the wheels that were on the original car were a little on the small side. Don't tell me these axles are bigger. All right. I had people come over yesterday, so I literally couldn't finish this stage. Really? Wow. Must I fight everything this morning? Good morning, Jeffrey. This should be able to work. This should be able to work. There we go. Could use another one of these for sure. One that's sharper. This thing's probably older than I am. perfect. Just put wheels that were a little bit bigger on this. There was a little bit of a gap. I try to, I really need to get a desk that you can, like one of those railroad layout desks you pop your head in through, because everything falls on the fucking floor. But, oh, here it is right here. If I don't do that, I can't lean over my table, because then then I'll have a crick in my neck. You know, we're not doing this for 5 seconds at a time. We're here for hours. So, all right, we're going to take all these extra wheels and we'll put them over here in the wheel bin to be used. The front wheels are about the same size, but the ones on the back are a little bit driftier. Or taller. Let's see if I didn't fuck something up by having too much glue in there. I may have up here in the front. The dimensions on a lot of this stuff is very precise. I'm changing out the wheels on this on the Jackal Veloce. That's at least what I think I'm doing. I figured it would be a lot easier than it was. It's you know, it's not a problem. It's just more trouble than I thought it was going to be. That's what I get for thinking something. Okay. And perfect. Oh, nice. Well, obviously I tested to make sure these wheels worked. Let's see if I can find a picture of it before and a picture before of it afterwards. So here is what and this little like chrome and stuff that's on the wheels, that would just get painted over anyways. It's like not chrome, copper. So it went from that to that. The camera sucks to try to show you guys stuff on there. Now, all the other Italian vehicles I have, the other two that are complete, and these wheels I did not take on purpose because they're for Maryland manslaughter. Have the front window in there, and they have this is for the yeah. I don't know that I'm going to put the front window in. I may not put the back window in either. But there's a little Hot Wheels sign here. I don't know if this is going to work. Disclaimer. I've got some paint thinner. Enamel thinner. No, I can't see there. Get all your modeling done before you turn 45, folks. I can't see shit as a pain in the fucking ass. Okay, let's get a bit of this. Now, normally I just have my contacts in and wouldn't need to take them out to see this shit. I want to see if this even touches this Hot Wheels sign. May not work. That whole thing of using a Sharpie or a dry erase marker did not work for me. I'm not touching it. I'll just repaint it by hand. Something is in this drawer that's just a tiny bit too tall. So we'll just end up repainting that. All right, I want to switch out these wheels. I'm a lot happier with it. But anyhow, I did that because I couldn't get anywhere with the sign that was still wet. I know these will be dry enough. I don't know if the goop on this is 100%. I mean, this thing is relatively heavy. Relatively heavy. And I don't remember what colors I used for the ground for the other ones. I'm not worried about it because I know what colors I didn't use. Could probably go back and watch a video of it. Or figure it out. Like I normally do. I probably have it written down somewhere. It'd take me longer to find where I have it written down than anything else. All right, let's go ahead and paint these things. We're going to use craft paint, of course. Let's unplug this. The people that are staying with you, if you just staying with you, you got to entertain them and stuff too. Cook for them. If I had to cook for anybody that stayed with me, they'd starve. Definitely not part of my skill set. What's up, Ben? Definitely not going to use any of the Hoffman brushes for this. I think this one's suitably shitty. Don't really need it to be very big. They're pissing me off. It's okay, man. I understand. Today is the second time I've opened the fridge and something they put in there falls out. Oh. Low dexterity guests. Yeah. Well, I think you still live with people. I don't know. It's none of my business. But when you live alone, the advantage that you have, not that I live alone, But the advantage that you have is you don't look for something in a place that you know you didn't put it. Like there's, as a general rule, I still, you still do fuck ups, but there's some things that you're not going to look for in certain places. And actually, before I do that, let me make sure there's no flyaways. One of my pet peeves is like, you went grocery shopping. And let me go to the store and pick up some things that I missed on a grocery shopping run, right? So you do that. What else do you need? Anything else? And as soon as you get home, or the following day, after you've gone to the grocery store twice in a row, you find a third item you need. And that pisses me off. Like, I'm just like, fuck, let's just Amazon everything. Like, Just like that Kiwi team, the All Blacks. It is a Kiwi team, isn't it? There's no reason I would know that. I should know that. It's none of my business. None yet. I prime it all black, and probably never going to change. That's Games Workshop's fault for showing me that in that heavy metal painting guide or whatever the hell it is. I just want to keep something that's in the shadows in the shadows. Bunch of Georgia people. Speaking of Georgia, I would say that without a doubt, I am better at geography than most people by an extremely large margin. My dad gave me as a present or whatever, 7 years old, of one of those big globes. And it was state of the art in 1978. That it had like little mountains you could feel around in. And I knew everything about that. I don't know why. There was no internet, that's why. I had no video games. What else are you going to fucking do? I'm a map nerd, But there's a couple places that I get confused. I don't get confused, but I like lump in the same box. And Georgia's one of them. And I don't mean the state that's north of us. I mean, I get Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan mixed up. I mean, I know that they're right on top of each other, but I get them mixed up. So if you say one, I may think the other one, I haven't been to any of them. Probably never will. And then there's 3 other places I also get mixed up. Definitely not going any of these 3 places. And they're all race courses on the Formula One circuit. And that's Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, and Qatar. Now, I have to think about them. I get them probably less mixed up than the other 3. But, when somebody says something, I just kind of throw it in a box, right? I just categorize them. And there's some cities in Britain that I do the same thing with. And you probably are going to laugh. And I put them in the same box because they're names of cruisers that have similar paint schemes. Ship nerd. And that's Sheffield and Belfast. And I know where Sheffield is, and I know where Belfast is, right? They're both north of me. They're in 2 different places, but I put them in the same category. Both of the words are about the same length. They have some similar letters. The paint schemes on them you know, I had both ships, you know, in 2400. So it's almost like somebody says one of those two, and I have to think, okay, that's the one over there. It's not like obvious that, I don't get confused New York and Chicago kind of thing. But those I do. But Bahrain, oh, that's the island. Okay, Qatar, that's the little penis place, the little. And Abu Dhabi, that's just that's over there beside Dubai. Had an exchange student friend in high school from Armenia. There's probably some beautiful things out there, I mean, that's not why I don't want to go out there. I mean, shit, I haven't made it to Italy. Why would I go to Armenia? And I'm not Armenian, but... It's like, would I like to go to Japan? Sure. Would I go to Japan before Italy? No. And I'm sure there's some other places that I get. The same thing I say, I lump actors together. Like, is that so-and-so or so-and-so? You put them in the same kind of category. You got to do kind of a double take sort of thing. This craft paint is covering really well. And this is El Cheapo. Now, some people paint miniatures with this stuff. I could if I have to, but I certainly use the black and the white to mix into other colors. It's just a pigment issue, and I think that the black pigment on the craft paint is plenty good. All right, I'm going to set this off to the side. Let's be intelligent for once in my life. And I go through these a lot faster than I use them. And there's no reason I can't just use these as setting things on them to keep the paint from being on here. So we'll let that dry and then we'll flip it and we'll do this end. I even did this one at an angle a little bit, so it's a little taller here than it is down here. The only thing with making these things is it's, okay, all right, cool, this is awesome. Let me make it. Oh, let me put the goop, and I gotta wait for the goop to dry. So it's like actually, this is what I need to do. There we go. Be extra smart. Exchange student friend in high school from Armenia. Did they go back? I ran into a truck driver the other day. Well, I didn't run into him, but there was one I interacted with. And he told me what his name was. And I don't remember what the name is right now. It started with a Z. And ended with an A. Zirkia or something like that. Ziykra or something like that. And when I encounter somebody that's unusual, I like to play a game with them called Let Me Guess Where You're From. I don't know. It's fun, and maybe they realize I'm not a stupid American like everybody else. I am a stupid American. I'm just not stupid about that. I'm stupid about the quadratic formula. I'm a retard when it comes to the quadratic formula. I don't know. Maybe I'd be good at it now, but I know in high school and college it was the Antichrist. But I played this game where he's from, and I looked at him, and he had like light blue eyes. So I'm like, I think you're probably, and he looked Turkic, like, Central European, Central Asian, more like it. I'm like, I'm going to say you're from Turkey. And he's like, no, I'm from Afghanistan. I said, well, I wouldn't have guessed that. He's like, you wouldn't? I said, no, you don't. I've never encountered somebody that admitted they were from Afghanistan. I know that Afghanistan has all kinds of different people. Remember that old National Geographic article probably from 1979, probably from the Soviet invasion, that it had that woman that was in the, she was in a wrap. She wasn't completely covered, but she had a wrap. I want to say her, shit, I can just pull it up. I remember. And she has bright blue eyes. That's that air, I don't know, maybe they got some Alexander's general's blood in them, There's Turkic people that have blue eyes and things like that. Let's see, let's find this. National Geographic article, Woman, Blue Eyes, Afghanistan. Yeah, this lady. Actually, they're green eyes. Actually, they're all kinds of, his complexion was kind of like that. Oh, I guess I got it wrong. But anyways, I thought he was like from Turkey. Because, there's the population of Turkey is a lot higher than one of Afghanistan. Anyways, I talked to him for a while, and he thought I was going to get freaked out that he's from Afghanistan. But look, there's a reason why you don't want to be there. I don't blame you. And he said he liked being here. Most countries would be an improvement considering the shit that they have to deal with over there. Almost any country would have been an improvement. Think they went back and forth, found her years. Red hair, blue eyes, a lot of Afghanistan, yeah. Are they Miracle Whip lids? No, it's cottage cheese. Ooh, I don't like Miracle Whip. I saw an article one time that men like Miracle Whip, women like mayo. I'm like, Miracle Whip is like adding pickles and things that don't need to have it. I mean, I can have it. It just tastes, it's just not my favorite thing. I use top off a pot of yogurt, peel the paint off when it builds up. It's satisfying. I think they went back and found her years later. Yeah. A lot of redheads over there, huh? No wonder they're so angry there. I'm kidding. That's what they say, that the redheads are feisty. I don't know. I haven't had any redhead experiences. Feisty. That's a good word, feisty. It's not in your vocabulary. No, it's just not a word I use frequently. Like, there's some words like you encounter that are just better than other words. Superb. And I call them like British words, right? Like words that people from Britain would like write and you hear them all say all the time. And there's a lot of really cool words. So I love superb. Brilliant. Oh, that's brilliant. Love it. Love that. They're not words I don't know. They're just words they're not common, use. Like, I tend to say, when I see something that I really like, I tend to say that it's awesome. Maybe I overuse that. I could have said it's brilliant or spot on. Although I was listening to a podcast the other day with the daughter, the Formula One podcast, which was extremely entertaining. Only because I knew what the fuck they were talking about. And those guys had a hard-on for saying done and dusted. And it is my most disliked. It's just an awkward Britishism. I just don't like it. You just sound like the cleaning crew. Is the foyer done? Yes, it's done and dusted. What about the garage? It's done and dusted. I don't think anybody dusts a garage. That's where the dust collects for actually. At least here in the United States, maybe they're dust free over there. There's a couple other words I can't think of right now that are like, oh, that's a good one. Like, it's just a normal word, but it's just something you don't normally use. Wunderbar. That's a good one. And I call the garage the gay rage. Well, depends what's happening in your gay. Maybe you misspelled that. Where are you going? I'm going to be out there in the gay rage. Okay, well, mind your boot then. I need to make my own race course for this and come up with ridiculous names for all the turns like at Silverstone. And I'm sure there's a reason why. I haven't looked into it. That Silverstone, I'm watching Silverstone a couple of weeks ago, and they have ridiculous names for everyone. You know, maggots and Beckets, and so you could call, this is the you're making the S turn through dildos, or something like that. All right, we'll stop that there. Now, how's this end? This stuff should dry pretty quick. No, we need a third one. We need to work on a third thing at once that can be drying. All right, let's do this, and let's do. I've said that the garage in this house is really cool temperature-wise compared to any other house I've ever lived in. It's really pretty amazing. The guy insulated, but it's still hot. I mean, that's how hot the summer has been this year. It is just really hot. That doesn't mean I'm going to go out there. I just don't want to, take a shower and then go out there kind of thing. Como pesa. I do need to figure out next time I go to Europe where they don't have air conditioning, so I don't travel there. I'll wait for them to catch up. Where should I start? I think I'll start here. And an airbrush just doesn't, I want a good coverage on this. If I'd used something like Elmer's, man, I'd be waiting a week for this to dry, so to speak. I need to write this stuff down so I can talk about it. I can remember to talk about it when I get back on, but we're watching something. Tires. I like the way they spell tires in Britain with a Y. looks better. And besides, then you have a different tire. Oh, I tire of this. Not the why. I'm painting the Kaiju's Seagraph and Siemens today. The last name is quite the name. Simons. Well, now I gotta look what it is. Seagraph. Seagraph. Never heard of them. Hopefully they're both good swimmers with names like that. Seagraph. Seagraph. Are they gonna fight each other? Because that would be cool. Oh, he looks like a video game character. That's cool. I mean, I know it's a guy in a suit, but I liked that when I was a kid. It's dinosaurish. I took all the Oh, he fights an Ultraman guy. Okay. You gotta take dinosaur stuff when you can. Oh, here's a little one. Is this? Oh, it's his little one. Oh, so it's like Godzilla and Godzuki. No, I'm kidding. Okay. I didn't see more Godzilla stuff as a kid because in the 70s, you got to watch whatever they fucking play on TV. And if they don't play it, you don't see it. That's how it works. So, I remember there was one of my parents' friends. He was an older gentleman. Well, he's my dad's age, so older. And he was the very first person that I remember that ever was really into like Betamax and VCRs, recording stuff off of TV. Back when you had a Betamax and you had a remote, but it had a cord on it. You had to like hold it and it had like two buttons, like record and like play and something. I mean, it did had like no buttons at all. And this gentleman had all kinds of. He had kids, and he had grandkids, and the grandkids were younger than I was, but the kids were older. Anyways, he recorded all this stuff, and in his den he had hundreds of videotapes. This is like 1981, 1982, 83, maybe something like that. And I'd sometimes get dropped off there to watch a bunch of movies. And he'd have stuff like, the old Sinbad movies and, you can't watch stuff like that unless you own it. And it was almost like a before you could own it kind of thing. So you had to watch whenever it came on TV. And he had them recorded. And the one thing that was really memorable about him, English was not his first language, but he did have a job here. He wasn't a construction worker or anything. I think he was an accountant. But he would have on the label what movies were on each tape. And it was not just one tape with one movie, there was multiple things. And instead of putting the actual name of the movie, he would come up with his version of the name of the movie. So if you have, I'm pulling things out of thin air right now, but if you had a movie, if you had a Sinbad movie that was called, I don't remember any of them right now, Sinbad movie To the End of the World or something like that, he would have called it End of War or something like that. English was not his first language, and he would almost like, his titles would almost be somebody like that would did not speak English very well and was maybe from India or something like that. I don't know, even though he wasn't from India, but it was just like a play on words, and it was just kind of interesting to try to decipher what movies he had in the library, what would interest me, and what the real name of the movie was, But that's really. I didn't go over that many times. I probably went over there 4 times ever, but it was kind of memorable because at that time, if you wanted to see any adventure type movies that were older, you just couldn't just put on a streaming service and watch them or buy them. Really, You take everything I could as a kid. I really think that was where my love of movies began. I remember flipping through TV guides and circling stuff in the newspapers and TV. We never had TV guide. You had to pay for it. Well, okay. When the wife moved in, we had cable in the really early 2000s. And I think we subscribed to TV Guide at one time. But one thing I really hate about television, probably the thing I hate the most about television, no, it's not commercials. It's that no matter what you have, whether it's a TV guide, obviously you would have a TV guide, but if you have that TV guide on your cable, you get shown shows on channels that not only you don't get, but you can't even get. If you say, you're a millionaire, and I'm like, okay, I want every channel available, and I will gladly pay for it, you can't have them. But yet you have to see them on your TV guide. And there needs to be a thing on there, and maybe there is now, where it's like, don't show me any channels I don't get. Because there's nothing where, you're like, oh man, I want to see this, but it's half over. It's worse, like seeing something, oh, that's a great movie, it's coming on, and oh, it's a channel I don't get. Oh, that one's cool. You also don't get that channel. Like, I don't want to see that. It's just like the carpet getting pulled out from under you. TV Guide channel you had to pay for when your mom checking out of the grocery store. They had the paperback TV guides. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Flipping through that thing. Yeah, it was cool. Did you ever find it being wrong? Did you ever circle okay, I want to see some kaiju movie, and you go and get ready to record it, and it ends up being something else. The 700 Club. Something you have no interest in watching it. I don't know that I have a love of movies. I don't hate movies, but it's just I'm a big fan of making decisions. I really am. And movies don't let you make any decisions. It's done for you. I certainly don't like rewatching movies. Great, another decision that I don't get to make, that I get to see the results that turn out exactly the same. This is insane. No, the definition of what is it, the people that say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. Watching the different results and expecting something different. I mean, I don't know. I'm just rambling. More coffee. That sucks. I figured it would. That's the kind of incompetence that happens these days, and that kind of stuff's always been going on. Got to keep them sports nerds interested. The best thing about watching Formula One, no commercials. The worst thing is you can't go to the bathroom. Well, you can pause it, but... You've rewatched Godzilla movies at least 3 times each, and there's 30 of them. There's more Godzilla movies than there are Bond movies. I would have never thought that. I've seen a select few more than 10 times, When a movie has miniatures, there's always something you miss. That's a good point. One movie that I always wanted to show my daughter, and it was impossible to find nowadays. They didn't try hard enough. But back in the day, they played it all the time on TBS. TBS was the channel they played all the older movies on, at least when I was a kid. And that was Ben-Hur. Because there's miniatures in Ben-Hur. And they're freaking cool. I'm sure a lot of people saw that movie and got turned on by Roman warships and stuff like that. It's cool. And somebody had to build them. It's not just CGI bullshit. Watching movies is kind of like therapy for me, but the movie has to be some rewatchability. It can't just be any old thing. What's the highest rated movie that you're like, what's the big deal about this? Like, if you look at any top 10 list of movies, the top 3 is always going to be that court movie, whatever it's called, that I haven't seen. With what, Orson Welles in it, or the other guy that I get confused with, Orson Welles. From 1941. So I can tell you the year, I just can't tell you what the hell it is. I'm not going to watch no fucking courtroom movie. Any old thing. I don't mind movies being old. They just got to be in color, man. I've seen movies. I've probably seen a couple of Hitchcock movies that are black and white. They're probably not adding to my 5 black and white movies I've seen. I might have actually seen 10 black and white movies. Maybe I lived a little. Although I don't know that watching black and white movies is really considered living a little, but. And when I'm done with this, now I remember you actually need to give this you need to paint over it kind of with a watered down version of this to get in all the nooks and crannies. Because with all these little splits and these little wooden pieces, there's always places where you can't get in there. Well, I mean, when did your people come over to America? That may have something to do with it. I've told. I mean, that's why I don't like American history. It's like it's just not relatable. You know, like there's no heritage tie-in. Westerns, and it depends what, like. Well, I don't know if you grew up close to your dad or whatever, but you know, I did. I watched stuff like that. And my dad didn't like westerns, so I don't watch westerns. My dad didn't watch sports. I don't watch sports. You watch racing. Racing isn't sports. You're just driving shit. It's not what I consider sports. It's fun to watch. So there's no way I could call it sports. Hey, it could be worse. I could be somebody that doesn't like foreign movies. I like foreign movies. And I've taken American history in college and stuff, and I'm like, this. It's like this place isn't interesting, interesting enough. So we got to do stuff. We got to do stories about laws. I'm like, I'd rather watch golf than listen to courtroom crap. It's close, but if I hated subs, yeah. Yeah, no, I like subs. I put them on everything. I put them on everything. I don't need them when I go to the movie theater. For whatever reason, the sound quality, I can understand everything. But on a regular show, and luckily my family doesn't mind them. So I mean, everything I'm watching, I have subs. Now, the only time I don't need subs is if I have my headphones on and I'm watching it on my phone. The quality is like I understand everything, but I still have subs. I like to I like to read. I like to see people's names, like people's last names. I like to see how they're spelled and stuff like that. I don't like dubbed stuff. So there's that Chinese movie called, I want to say it's called The 800 or whatever. I just can't finish watching it because it's like, you got these Asian folks in there that talk like they're, not even remotely like that. I think they even give them Western names. I'm like, come on, man. Outside of Gaslands and World War II, let's see. Not in any danger of actually doing it. I've got Japanese and Chinese fleets for modern. And by fleets, I mean I've got like 7 or 8 ships of each, a 1/6000 scale painted. I just don't feel motivated to learn the shipwreck rules. I just, I don't know if I even like the game, but I figured it might be cool to do some kind of like what if scenarios over make believe, because there for a while, and they're probably still doing it now. The Chinese were like, oh, we're just gonna create this island out of fucking sand, and then we're gonna claim it, and then we'll have a footprint in an area that we normally wouldn't have a footprint in. Like, well, that's great for a conflict. That works really well as a plot device. So I've got a handful of ships. They actually were from Shapeways. Remember them? And I mean, now there's a lot of other options. But I got a couple of helicopter carriers for the Japanese. I think I have 2. And I probably have 7 or 8 other surface vessels for the Japanese. And the same thing with the Chinese, except they don't have a carrier. And they're painted and they're labeled and they're on popsicle sticks. And they honestly look pretty fucking good. I just haven't put, so I've thought about doing that. I thought about getting back in a naval 1/2400 scale. I'd really like to do it in 1/6000, but there's nobody really that makes 1/6000 scale stuff that's, Victorian. But not seriously. It's the thing about the Gaslands that makes it so much better than anything else is anywhere you go, there's a potential hobby section. And by hobby section is cars. So if you go to the grocery store, if you go to Walmart, if you go to Walgreens, if you go to, any place, there's an opportunity to go look for something. And if you're doing anything else, with their basically with hobby stores basically not existing, you have nothing to look forward to as far as going into a store and looking for your hobby items. And that's huge. Even if you don't buy any, that it just blows anything else away. It's not that cars are that much better than tanks or anything. And that's like the big difference. You have basically a hobby where stuff that you're interested in is everywhere. And if you find it, it's really fucking cheap. That helps. So you're like, hey, you need to go pick me some, we need to go pick something up. I'll go, I'll volunteer. Everywhere you go. Might be surround sound and cinema making it easier for you to hear. Do you have surround sound at home or just the speakers on the telly? We have a really good sound. I mean, you literally hear things all around. So I am not a conspiracy person. You guys should know that. I just don't. I'm more of an incompetence person. I think governments and businesses and people are just more incompetent than they are sinister. There's sinister people out there, but it's the minority of us. I'd like to think. But I have a family member who does not think that way. He thinks everything is a conspiracy, and I don't buy into it. And his conspiracy theory is that there's a conspiracy to make everybody's home entertainment system sound like shit and a movie theater good. I know that he has a sound system that is a lot more advanced than mine. I can't hear fuck on his TV. And it has to do with, I'm not a sound guy. I'm not a movie guy. And I talk in simple terms, especially when I'm talking about colors. Like, I may call something value that's really hue, and I probably should watch something so I don't sound so fucking ignorant to a color person, to a color phobe. But same thing with sound. There's background and there's foreground. That anything you put on TV, and there may be a way to do it, but I'm not a technology person. Like, as I mentioned this the other day, I'm like the only guy. There's generalizations that the man of the house doesn't like to give up the remote. I hate using the fucking remote because I hate fat fingering things, or like you touch something and something else is. So it's like, hey, we're gonna watch a family show. I don't want to fucking run the remote because it's just a sense of frustration for me. Especially when I'm like so fucking detailed. I mean, I can do stuff here that nobody else in the family can do, but the remote, I fat finger it all the time. Tony got fat fingered. Exactly. Name of a movie. It wouldn't be rated G. And anything you watch, and I'm not just talking like you're watching a show and then it goes to the commercials and the commercials are really loud. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem when it's like the sound, the background sound in a scene is loud, is deafening the conversation that the characters are having. And it drives me fucking bananas. And there's no way to change it. You change through all the, and it's just like, and when you're at the movie theater, it's not that way. And I've had people say, you just don't have the right settings on the TV. And I don't have a piece of shit TV, right? Like, I don't, it's like when it's time to buy a television, like you buy a fucking system. If you're going to spend money, you're going to buy something that's good, or don't bother spending any money. It is so freaking annoying. So it's a background sound issue. That's really what the problem is the background is too loud. And that's the problem that I have hearing things. Like if there's 4 or 5 of us and we're going out to go to, I don't know, some restaurant, right? If people in the background would just shut the fuck up, and it's not that I understand them and I don't understand the people here, it's just they're running audio interference, and it just drives me crazy, you know. So, but like for instance, we have a. I hate these fucking meetings they do with a TV at work. But the speakers, that this is a different issue on that one. The speakers on that TV has no speakers. The speakers are on the television and they're on the back of the TV and it's up against a wall, right? So it's kind of like it's kind oh, it's kind of like this. Are we back on? What the fuck happened? That's the weirdest thing. I'd never seen that before. It said offline and then we came back online. Okay, let's see here. This surround sound instead of making each video surround sound. Ben took on range of voice level. Okay, gotten so much better. Actors have a range of voice levels from whisper to screaming that mics can pick up now. It's the whispering. I can't listen to whispering on freaking. I can't listen to whispering, you know. I can't tell you how many times a day somebody will come in my office and they're like, I'm like, dude, and I literally like move within a foot of them. Like, speak up, dude. Like, you know. All removed characters all had to speak at a certain volume during all scenes to be heard by older. That's been, you really do know about that movie stuff. I never thought about that. That's why we all need subs now. It's not our ears. Nobody with that name that I can't say because she'll wake up can be conspiracy brained. Yeah, I'm not in favor of having that just because it's annoying. I don't say anything that I'm worried about the federal government to come after me. You know, you can do a background check on me. You can see where my loyalty is like. It's kind of like then the stream died. Excellent demonstration. Now we're back. I hate technology, you know, because of stuff like that. You know, like this. I'm not going to forget how to paint unless I have like an aneurysm or something like that. Like I have a stroke and then I'm like, I can't paint, you know. I bet all those OnlyFans girls don't have streaming issues. Is there OnlyFans dudes? Probably. I don't know anything about that stuff. If it was free, I might have like checked it out just to see what it's about. But you got to pay first? No. Nah. No, no free samples. Okay. The stuff does dry pretty quick. Oh, we didn't paint the underside of this. Let's go ahead and do it so we don't have any issues later on. So subtitles keep me from turning the volume to like 42. I think some of them have free stuff to entice. It makes sense they would. Otherwise, why would you, why would you go to that channel? Customers. Can we just call them wankers? See, that's a good use for a wanker. What's a wanker? Some guys were watching OnlyFans content. I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna sit waiting for somebody to say that. Use wanker. What's a wanker? Some of you watch OnlyFans content. So to answer your question, not really. I'm just telling you, the car thing is incredible. And once I realized, man, there's a lot of really cool shit in this car that I just bought for $1 that I can either remove, change, modify, repaint. Plus, you get to learn about cars if you want to, you know. That's one of the things I like to do. Get a car. I'm like, well, let's find out how much horsepower. How fast is it 0 to 60? When was it made? What is it? Like, it's just cool. And you're learning real shit. Ben Waddy leaks. Nothing came up. Well, that's why he doesn't use his real name. Ben Waddy feet pics. Mitch Harbach feet pic. I'm gonna look that up. I could probably start an account of that and then just do like go to my videos and watch like screenshots of them, put them up there. Might be able to make up 10 cents a year or something like that. Mitch Harbach rutabaga pics. And that's what coffee does to me. People say coffee makes you go poop. It makes me pee. Tea and coffee, you know, I mean, I can hold it, but why be uncomfortable? You know, as soon as I feel the discomfort of a bladder, I just go to the bathroom. So I end up going to the bathroom, I don't know, 20 times a day? I shouldn't count. I don't know how much that would be. Okay, I think we can hold on to this part and paint the base. Yeah, it doesn't make me go poop. If it did, like, why would I have coffee? Oh, the armpit people are the new trend. Really? I mean, there's some armpits you've probably seen that look nasty. But I don't go and look at an armpit and go, that's a sexy armpit. Like, you know? This is the same thing with feet. I don't go somewhere and like, man, those feet look great. I don't care what the rest of her looks like. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. If you go and see somebody that's attractive and you go, oh, she's got cute feet too. Well, all right, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Nobody wants to see like nasty ass feet. Like there's some people that I've seen, especially at game conventions, that and it's nobody I know, so don't think it's somebody that just have feet that are like, if I had feet that looked like that, I wouldn't wear open-toed shoes. And some people just don't care. But feet take a lot of No, we're going to talk about feet. No, but seriously, like if you don't wear, if you don't wear socks and stuff like that, your feet dry out. So that's a fucking problem. If you don't let your feet breathe, that's a problem too. It's like they're just like hands that sweat a lot, I guess. Let's see somebody there. Man, why is that person's toes all black? Oh, they're a runner. Well, there's another reason not to run. Armpit people. As long as it's not the knees. I'm not going to look that up. I'm going to get it's going to start suggesting me things I'm not interested in. Although I got to show you guys this. This is hilarious. I literally laughed out loud when I saw this. I don't remember what site this was on. I think I saved this. It's on Facebook. Let's see. Go to saved. Oh no, I didn't save it. I didn't save it. Let me use some keywords. Okay, I found it relatively quick because it was these PETA people. I don't mean pedo, I said PETA people that were protesting killing lobsters. So there's some scantily clad lady painted up as a lobster on a plate. And the post had this picture, and it said something like, "Thanks, PETA, for showing us a kink that we didn't know that we had." It was just like, it was just hilarious. Like, it doesn't do anything for me, you know. I don't want clampers on a girl's, you know. I don't like girls with antennae. I don't like to eat things with antennae. I don't like girls with antennae. Crawfish are creepy. Crawfish taste good, but man, when you have them like in a bucket of them, like, I'm not eating insects. Yeah, yeah, you know which one I'm talking about. You know, it was just really funny. Like, no. Like, I think the weirdest thing about gamers are weird, but the people that like LARP or like dress up as anime characters, you know, that don't even remotely look like the anime character, nah. You know, it's like, you know, if you weigh 500 pounds, you're not going to get drafted as a stormtrooper. You know, sorry, you don't fit the, you know. I think what I did is I just left the center of it white. Just probably to save paint. And it doesn't cover worth a shit on this science project board. Foam core is what it's called. Foam. I think that's what the generally accepted thing is. Yeah, I saw that picture and I laughed out loud. Freaking crap. I thought I'd saved it. No, if I would have really been turned on by it, I would have saved it. So, there's your proof. Lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt is your favorite LARPer video. It's this dude dressed up as a wizard in a forest throwing balled up aluminum foil. Just a couple of LARP people or something like that. There was some girl or girls wearing some kind of armor and chainmail, and they were pretty attractive. But I'm like, you know, you're weird. I don't even know who the hell it is. Lightning bolt, huh? Constructor wins with most Grand Prix wins. Okay, we're going to save later. This is an interesting video. Sometimes, you know, recommendations are awesome. Sometimes you're like, yeah, I'm not into that. Save for watch later. Okay, anything else cool here? Okay. Lightning bolt LARP. Oh, there's a lightning bolt LARP Tosh 2.0. So, my brother's best friend, his hobby is being in plays. And he's an adult. He's in his 40s. I think that's a cool hobby. As long as they don't ask you to do something self-deprecating or, you know, sing when you're not supposed to sing. I think that's a cool hobby, you know. But dressed up like, we're going to dress you up like in armor, but your sword's going to be made of rubber. That's stupid. I'm sorry, it's stupid. You know? LARP Lightning Bolt Ogre Battle Special Version. Alright, I'll watch this later or whatever. Maybe it'll make me chuckle. Look, we all got bullied. And it's like, when I grow up, that's what I look forward to, bullying other people. Not just calling people out for shit. Like, it's like, look, we're all on the same team together. Let's not make the team look bad. Don't be like stupid, man. Like, I want to be whatever you want. I mean, you're being stupid. Maybe not so much like, you're in boot camp and, if you don't run how far, you're going to get, you're going to get visited by, the whatever it is that they do in there, the soap and the pillowcase and beat the shit out of you kind of thing. Maybe not to that extreme, but your peers need to hold you. You need to be held accountable. Your peers need to hold you accountable, and you need to step it up. That's what I mean by the bullying thing. I don't mean people need to be like tortured or something like that. I'm just saying that you need to do your part. You need to do your part. You can't just be like, well, I'll just do whatever the hell I want. Screw everybody. I'm like, no, you need to be taught a lesson. That's what I mean. I don't mean I want people being beaten up. Like, you ought to know better. Wish I tried theater when I was a kid. I'm fascinated about it. There's a lot of stuff that's cool about it. I've been to one play that sucked, but other than that, I think it's cool. I think I did it in high school a couple times, and I liked it. I didn't do anything that was like questionable. I don't mean like nudity. I just mean like stuff that's just, like you're not dressing me up as a woman. Sorry. That's Tony's rules. I ain't dressing up like a woman. I may, do dialogue like I was or, something like that, but I ain't dressing. I ain't wearing, you ain't putting lipstick on this pig. Nope. Nope. Tony's rules. But I think that's a really cool hobby, as a hobby. And that's coming from somebody that doesn't like Shakespeare. And the problem with Shakespeare is it's just like, dude, like, what are you saying? That's it. It's not that the story isn't any good. It's just dude, what are you saying? If nobody knows what you're talking about, what's the point? Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Now, opera, no. I can't understand when people are singing anyways, and now you're making, like stuttering singing. Long-winded stuttering singing. Like, yeah, I don't know what the hell you're saying. There was you want to see something funny? Go look up, and I didn't find out about this until recently. You guys probably already know about this because you're more well-rounded than I am. But we were watching something about a race, and then we ended up getting this suggestion of this. It's on YouTube, and it's something like, I guess Red Bull. I think it's Red Bull. Red Bull does like this annual thing where people build like soapbox derbies that are ridiculous. They're like, and then they put them through this obstacle course, and they either make it or fall apart in different pieces in the process. And it's adults doing it, and it's really fucking funny. It's really, really, really funny. And there's a lot of them because I guess they've been doing it for a while, and I just found out about it. So you got 20 or 30 or 40 years of this stuff. It's called I think Red Bull is the key term that you need to use. Okay, that's the one. Yeah, I saved that one to see. Man, it's super grainy. I'll check it out. I'll check it out later. And that's what I mean by people need to be bullied. Not that you need to like beat people into submission, but don't be an idiot and let the team down and think you can get away with it. Like, you know, you need to cooperate. Red Bull soapbox race. There's some hilarious shit on there. Oh yeah. They even have one in London 16 days ago. I guess I haven't seen that one. Some funny stuff. Something like, man, I wouldn't make a car. There might even be some good Gaslands ideas in there. Have you seen the one where people have to make their own plane? I have not. Don't you have a paper guide? No, I wouldn't go to an opera. No, and it's not because I don't like classical music or anything like that. It's just like I don't like vibrato singing to begin with. So now it's like, oh shit, now we got extra of that. Nah. Play yes, opera no. I went to an art studio. I got talked into going into an art studio last weekend. And normally that would be a recipe for like, this is bullshit. But the guy was, because, I'm a snob when it comes to art stuff. Not because, oh, well, that's not a style I like. No, I don't like people that claim to be artists and they just throw shit on a canvas that takes no effort. Sorry. It's not like my stuff is the best stuff, but like, I can look at something like that didn't take any effort. But this guy was really, really cool. And he did he was an acrylic painter. He wasn't there, but he I'll show you one of his artworks. And he did classes also, but his style was almost like using caulk. That's what it looked like. It looked like you made things out of caulk. It was very three-dimensional, and then you would paint it with acrylics, and it was all acrylics. So, and it's like they encouraged you to touch the painting. I know it's fucking weird, but it is because it's like it's flexible, like acrylic. And I'm like, I don't want to touch your paintings, but the fact that you can get up to inches from it and see how it's assembled, like what layers you put in first, is really cool. Because you can't go to the gallery and get with some kind of national gallery and get within 3 feet. They'll freak out, right? Like even if you're wearing like a mask or something like that, not that they don't want you to get too close to it. And as I'm always trying to figure out how it was constructed or what materials they use. It's fascinating. Plus looking at everything else. And this guy, let me find this picture of one of them. This is not the best painting that was there. But there's something really cool. Well, assuming I can find it. I have a couple things to show you. I should have thought about it. Like, man, I could have brought this up on my show. Not that anybody. So here is, and his canvas is made out of wood. So imagine he makes it out of like wood. It's like there's no canvas on it. It is just, he's painting on a wood panel. And so this is like the size of like a window. Let's kill this. So, and if you get in here, you can see that the flowers are very three-dimensional. They're almost like made out of like this acrylic that he mixes and he like uses a spatula. So, like these stems are 3D. See if I can show you this. It almost looks like you'd made it out of caulk. It's really cool. It's really, 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 really interesting. And I'm trying to decipher that. And I'm like, that almost looks like he made it out of this white material and he went and kind of painted it over. And it's like, yeah, he kind of does that sometimes. But I showed this painting to my daughter. And I told my daughter, I said, who does, she does watercolors and stuff like that. And I said, what's the very first thing you think of when you see this painting? What's the very first thing you think of? And it's like, without a doubt, like I saw it and immediately it put something right in my mind. And she's like, and she said exactly what it made me think. So I took this painting, and I didn't want to do that to the painting because I'm not anti-AI, but I don't like to fool people, right? I think AI is not useful if you can't tell it's AI. If you're trying to like, hey, look at this incident that happened on the street and it's all fake. I think that's against my my creed to make up bullshit, right? But I went and enhanced it, and this is exactly what it made me think of: Jurassic Park 3, which I hadn't seen in 15 years probably. But so I put the T-Rex and the Spinosaurus fighting it out. That's exactly what it made me think of. Obviously, I didn't show the person that was running the gallery that, because I'd be like, yeah, you're just running. You want AI to take over anything? No. I paint real shit with real stuff, And but that was really cool. But he also had these skulls, and here you can see kind of it's almost kind of like melted candle wax sometimes. And he had taken these army men and had stuck these. I don't think it's a real skull. I hope it isn't. And took these, large style army men and put them inside the skull. I don't know, probably some kind of a protest piece. I don't know. I'm not pro war either, but and just it was kind of cool, Anyways, that makes it look like there's a lot of bullshit there that wasn't, but it was cool. We were in there probably an hour and a half. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. There was and I didn't take a picture of it. I should have. My daughter did. That's why I didn't take a picture of it. There's this picture. My favorite one was these sunflowers, and it wasn't like a field of sunflowers like Van Gogh. It was just like an arrangement of these sunflowers, like in a vase. I think the vase was in there. But it was just absolutely beautiful. It was absolutely extremely well done. And he's like, what's for sale? $6,500. And I'm sitting here thinking, that'd be something that if I was a rich person, I'd probably buy. Because it's really good. Like it was mood changing. I have to find it and show you guys. I was really, really impressed by it. But the artist wasn't there. And it's like, would I like to talk to the artist? Well, is he weird? That's like what I'm talking about. Like, you want to go to a concert and meet somebody famous? Well, are they like really fucking weird or on drugs and shit like that? Because if they are, then I don't really want to meet them. I don't want to meet famous people. We talked about this yesterday. You guys were saying that the World Cup had all kinds of famous people. I don't want to meet famous people. They're exposed to things that you don't need to be exposed to, would it be cool to have a photo op with somebody famous? Sure. Just as a memento. The same way it's like, I don't have any of them up, but here's where I won the Nick Championship. Does it mean anything? No, it was just a nice memory of, I had this really cool experience and it was, 15 years ago and this is proof that I was there kind of thing. It's better than just buying Hot Wheels cars and fucking mounting them to the wall in the packaging, But I'll find that. I'll have my daughter send. She probably did. She probably did send me a picture of it. It is, at least at the time, it's probably one of the most. I sat there and looked at it for a long time, and it's not a subject matter that would really interest me. It's like flowers. Who gives a fuck about flowers, man? You're a dude. Like you're not even a fruity dude. It was awesome. It was awesome. Let's see. She likes sending things on Instagram, and I don't know how to fucking use Instagram. It's super awkwardy. She sends me a lot of stuff. Yeah, send it through here. We send each other all kinds of cute shit about animals and stuffed animals and things like that. That's our thing. Man, she sent me a ton of stuff that I haven't seen. Jellycat things. Maybe how did she send this to me? Maybe on... I didn't want to take a picture. I don't want people getting the idea that I'm going to take a photo of something and somehow like steal somebody's idea. No, it was not there. Let's see if it's the group chat that we have with the wife did not send it. I have to get her to send it to me. Anyways, it was really awesome. And it was, rustic like that. Rustic in that it was made out of like caulk. But it was like, sometimes you use the right material, it'll give it the right look. And the fact that they encourage you to touch it, it's just weird. Like I was uneasy touching a painting. Like just let me get as close as I want. How about that? And I'm not going to spit on it or anything. Just to kind of deconstruct it. Like I love going to some place like Universal Studios. And I think I've mentioned this before. In Universal Studios, they have this King Kong ride. And the ride's CGI, and you're in this car. I'm not talking about the ride. I'm talking about the facade, that the entrance of the outside of this ride is. Like, what's the name of the sign? Whatever the hell it's called, King Kong or Kong Mountain or whatever the hell it's called, Kong Island or forget what the hell it is. But it has this facade of like a temple. It's all bullshit. It's all made out of cement and plaster and stuff like that. But how they paint it, and I'm always like trying to get up and deconstruct, like, all right, the whole thing's painted black, and then they did a dry brush of this. Just trying to deconstruct it, as a painter to see if I could, like, because first of all, it looks really fucking good. You're like, all right, well, how can we use some of this idea? Like, I would love to, like, go there and, like, figure out how to do all that stuff. And I actually ran into somebody at Lowe's that said that they worked for Universal Studios. And so, why don't you work for them anymore? Doing pyrotechnics or something like that. And he said, they're only paying me this. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't pay the bills. I mean, it just doesn't pay the bills. Bills have to, you have to, things cost money, and you got to have like a functioning car and, a safe place to live. You don't have to live in a super fancy place. And, you're like, I paint, but I can only afford craft paint. Hey, you can make some pretty amazing things with craft paint, but I'm just saying, there's some things that cost, Got to have air conditioning. I mean, if you're American. Your friend dated this girl from Colombia, and he took her to a museum, and she started touching everything. No, eso no se hace. No. South Americans are weird that way. I hear they cheat a lot too. Especially people from Argentina. I don't know anything about that. I just threw that out there. I'm always going to side with the Europeans. You know that. My country of origin. I like that. Who was it that said that? Was it Jeffrey? I think Jeffrey was the one that said that. I freaking love that. That's a great terminology. Your country of origin. Well, it's great until you're for somewhere you're not proud of. I had this one guy in my many years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. He would come on every Saturday morning. I don't know what I was working on at that time, probably DBA stuff. And this guy he claimed, I'm not saying he was wrong, I mean, he claimed he was half Thai and half German. And he used to come on here he came on here at least 6 or 7 times. It took 6 or 7 times for me to run him off. No, I didn't want to run him off. And he did not like the fact that he was half German. I'm like, I'm sorry. You don't get to pick who your mama is, you know? So I might as well be happy about it. That whatever you are is what you are. Because, you're fucking stuck with it. Like, none of us get to pick. I would just assume that everybody would be proud of where they came from, because you kind of have to be, because like, you're stuck with that deal, Now, what colors did we use for the base? I'm gonna grab a base. I don't have my contacts in. I can use my superpowers. Right? Superpowers I didn't know that I had. Until I got into turn about 46, and now I have to use readers for everything. That's not fine. We'll use my handicap to deconstruct what colors I used on the base of the. Oh, I saw you hiding here, you unpainted piece, you. Maybe a little bit more water. And since I painted it, I know what colors it isn't. Without a doubt. There's no doubt I know what colors it's not. And I bet you all will hit it right on the head. Because I've done it before. Like, I know none of these colors that I used are Vallejo. I wouldn't waste Vallejo on something this big. So that just eliminates 300 fucking colors that it isn't. And if it was super important, I would have probably written it down. Wouldn't have remembered where the hell where I written it down. Now, what I meant to say is where I done wrote it. Okay, we're not going to be able to get to this morning. The paint on here is too thick and or wet. But we can do those two little guys. And the very first thing we're going to do is the groundwork. Just make sure we didn't miss anything major, and we will start on that. And use that one all by yourself, and we're going to put you right over there. So when you fall down, you don't fall on anything important. What's up? Good temperature in the morning, man. You like your German ancestry. Well, it's good because you're fucking stuck with it, It's the cooler percentage in my book, but I rarely think about it. I don't want to have a parasocial relationship with a country. Man, I didn't realize I was going to get an education this morning. Parasocial relationship with my country. Well, I'm telling you, I had a maybe not life-changing experience, but when I went to Spain, I know part of it is real and part of it is perceived. I felt it. I felt it. Because, like, I'm American, and I'm proud of being American, but I don't go to D.C. and go, yep, that's my people. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just a disconnect. Like, I love this country, but it's like, it's just kind of bland. I don't mean it ugly, and I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody other than myself. But when I go somewhere, I don't feel like it's my heritage. You know, I mean, unless I went somewhere that, you know, and I don't, doesn't mean I don't want to live here. I love America, you know, but like if you go to somewhere like New England, like New England is just like not me. Like I just, no, you know, so let's grab a sign. Here's your sign. Well, let's grab a sign and deconstruct what colors were used. Because I'd like for it to be the same color as this. And it's like, it's dirt, but it's also sandy. Could be desert. Like, yep. And one of them, I have to come up with a term for that. Okay. I probably used the new colors. I know I used this color. I know I used this color. And no, I don't want to go look at the video up. I know I used raw sienna. This is the orange color. They're like, oh my God, I ruined it. And I believe this is color number 2. Well, black is 0. So the first color is not this one. This is the second color. The first color would have been you gotta be careful it doesn't have too much red in it. There's a lot of these browns have a lot of red. What color is this? It's not this one. How do you know? It's not opened. You're brilliant. Not really. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Dark chocolate. It probably is this color. It's probably dark chocolate. And then we have this raw sienna, and then there's 2 other colors on top of it. Those 2 other colors are probably, and besides, if I don't write it down, like, this is a good exercise. It's not this, because it's too pink, and it's not opened. Wow, fucking Sherlock. Let's see what we got here. And honestly, it won't make that much of a difference. This is actually a pretty important color to get in because it warms it up significantly. Camel. Camel's definitely one of them. Camel is the third. And then the last one is probably camel with white in it. Probably. Or it's sandstone, or these have too much pink in them. It's not gonna be them. Well, technically, every country has a problem with illegals, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. Yeah, my wife asked me if I knew about that. I'm like, I don't watch the news, man. The news has to come and find me. Honeycomb. Honeycomb big. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not small. No. Honeycomb may be in there. ¿Qué color es este? Desert sand. No, there's a certain named one. I mean, I like what's going on here. This is all good. I think this is probably what I used, and then lighten this up with white if needed. That's something I would do. Like, this is a little too, like, not warm. Start using colors that aren't warm. Coffee latte. That's a little too rosy. That's a little too drab. This one is Country Twill. Might be in there. We're just going to, I know these 2 are correct, and we'll figure it out as we go. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same. It'll be, look, if these 2 colors are the right ones, which they are, then everything else will just fall into place. We're not going to use the Hoffman brushes. The Hoffman brushes are too nice to use for this dog shit. It is. It's like rough. It's going to destroy them completely. So. I tell people, and what's this color doing over here? Rusted pipe. Fuck. I threw a curveball on it. What's it doing over here, man? That could very well be one of the colors. Well, it's chocolate brown first, so. Let's grab another one of these. Let's grab. Yep, I'm a grabber. No, I'm never going to find a brush like that. See, something I don't mind, like trashing, because that's what this is going to do to it, unfortunately. This is probably a good one. Well, they did that thing that I was talking about. I didn't even know about it. And then they did that thing like, all you got to do is cross the border to get over here. And I've seen this before. Like, there's like a border that goes all the way to the ocean, but it can't keep going, so you just go around the ocean. Like, as long as you're good to swim like 50 feet. You know, like anybody I know can swim 50 feet. Is it all dudes too? Because it seems like these like attacks of these massive people are always like a bunch of men. Dudes, dune dudes. Now, see, this is a good color. It's watery as shit. Extremely watery. And I want to cover most of this. It might not be this color. Maybe what other color could it be? I guess it could be this one. Dark chocolate. Damn it, man. All right, we're learning a new skill. How to make mistakes and fix them. I fix shit all the time. Let's just take some of this. I don't want to go all in on this color because I'm fighting it being this watery. They're both dark chocolate. They're both Americana. This one is significantly redder than this one. Well, you know, yeah. It's not fair to people who, the reality is if you just jump the border, it's not fair to people who have waited longer and are going through the process. Just look at it at that point, Why do you get to jump the line? Like, that's not really fair. Even if you're, an outstanding individual, right? If you're going to be somebody who's never going to commit a crime and is going to, the country you're going to is better off than had you not gone over there. Okay, let's think positive. It's not fair to the people that are waiting in line for. Well, it's a government activity, so it's going to take forever and a day. Like when you're on the highway and you see this sign, lane merges, right lane ends ahead. You drive it all the way to the end and then you get upset that nobody lets you in. Why should we let you in? Like, you haven't been waiting, dude. Like, don't be a fucking dick. Like, it's not difficult to make the correct call, to be to make a fair call on things. This is the color. I guess I have this decrepit color. Dark chocolate. It is not the same. Is there a date on here? Let's see. It's the same brand. Maybe we need to put that one over there. Go hide over there with the greens, dude. People that think that the rules don't apply to them, I'm not used to making a fucking mess. I'm not a fan of that. We don't like that color. Not for this. So we'll leave a little bit of black in there. You know, we're going to put a successive 4 or 5 layers of paint, so that that black undercoat will disappear more and more each time we add another color to it. Hold on 1 second. All right, back to what? No, the whole clan is open. Oh wait, now so. Each successive layer that you put on here will be less and less paint, which will dry quicker than the previous one. And this is one of these things like, man, terrain takes a lot longer to do than cars or figures or whatever, but you get to reuse it and every time you use it. Every time you get to play the game, you could potentially use the same thing. And I think I'm going to I think I'll paint this like it's made of wood. We'll use different colors, especially the base colors, just so it stands out a little bit. And I think I'm going to do red and white stripes on it, just so it stands out, looks like it's for safety. It's all for safety. All right, I think I can get away with doing the next one, which is, we definitely have this raw sienna, because I remember being like a pumpkin color. Like, man, it's just not going to work. And I stuck with it, and it worked. This one's a little bit more watery than the, I don't know about the same. Yeah, this is definitely the right colors. I was doing this and I'm like, man, this looks like a shitty Halloween. Let's move this back a little bit. We don't want to clip that. I think this color pattern like this would be great for. Maybe that's what I'll do. My wife has somebody coming over to visit her in a couple hours or an hour or so. I think I may move to the garage and maybe work on that cliff side. I don't know if I'm going to be happy with it, but I'm willing to give it a shot. It literally costs nothing. The materials cost nothing to use. It was stuff that was going to end up in the trash. And I may, something epic may come out of it. Yeah, we have ice here in America too. You guys have that in Europe? That's probably more important to me than air conditioning. Well, they both are. Well, you live in a hellhole, you need air conditioning. A hot hellhole. Now, camel is definitely ending color because it's almost like buttery. Country twill. I don't think country twill. Rusted pipe. I want to say rusted pipe is in there. I want to say it's that. They're all warm colors, and some of them just kind of look pastelish, and it just doesn't look right. Doesn't look right to me after you look at it. We're not even going to clean the brush. Folk art. What the folk? Oh, that one's creamy. Let's get most. I'm not going to clean the brush, but let's get most of the original color off. Let's use the one that we did a little earlier, so it's a little drier. I think we're on the right track. Like I said, I know what colors we didn't use. And if you're not sure about which two colors you used, it won't make a difference as long as you end at the right spot. Like the colors in between won't matter dramatically. If you can't figure out which one of these two it is. And I didn't write it down because it's just not that, it wasn't that important. If there's something, it took a lot of effort to figure out what it was, but I just stumbled upon what colors I wanted to use when I did the first one. And I was just happy with the results. All right, let's downsize one. Yep. There we go. Yeah, I want a color palette that if I put like something of sand there, if I put something of jungle, like it all kind of works. This is like the same color palette that those palm tree bases have, and it just, it could work for a desert environment, it could work for a tropical environment. It doesn't look out of place in any of those. Now in this case, with a frame, I'm probably going to paint the frame first, then do the groundwork. Because in painting the frame, I'm going to like have my hands all over the groundwork, and I'll end up undoing a lot of this. So there's not like a fast rule. This is exactly the correct color. And then add a little bit of white to highlight some other spots. This is like nailed it. replace this big old thing. Any left here? Nope. It's like a standard issue, like brew up for tea something. No cream in this thing. This coffee automatically makes this stuff foamy like that. Foam at the mouth coffee. I don't know if that's the best marketing. Bad thing about being off on Sunday is everything opens so friggin' late. Like, oh, let me go and do such and such. You can't, it's 9. I said, yeah, what's wrong with that? Oh, they open until 11 on Sunday. I'm like, lazy fuckers, you know? I don't know if I'm going to add a top layer to it. I don't know that it needs it. Maybe ever so lightly. It's a bad thing about craft paint. I just want a little to come out. Too much. Every time. There you go. Just a little something. That's the secret of dry brushing I found is don't use too few layers or it looks like it was crummy. I know some people that bought some pre-painted tanks and they said, oh yeah, they just dry brush it, but they dry brush it in like one color. It looks worse than if they were just just painted it one color or, you know, not obviously not painted at all, but they were actually looking forward to it because it was already pre-painted. I'm like, lacks depth kind of thing. All right. Really? Don't be a bitch. Still kind of wet. We'll punt on that. All right. So we definitely want to make these like it's made out of wood. So keeping these here, we also have this one. We're not going to use any of these colors in the wood part, except they pop a little bit. Even the brown. The brown, we're using a different brown. Or I'll make my own or whatever. So don't need this one anymore. So, yeah, definitely contrast want to get at the top. This is the color of the church. The church is very gray. I don't think I want to use that color. So where do we want to end up with this? Now, let's go up here and see what we've got. Oh, this is one of the cheapo colors. One of the ones I got, the folk art with it. Folk art are like the expensive craft paints. Country Twill. Yeah, it's a little too light. Iced coffee. Speaking of which, I think we're going to try using this and black. Let's try this. Let's leave it there. And where's our black friend? Put him away. Most useful craft paint color. Most useful color probably of all is black. All right, and we don't want a huge magnanimous brush. So something like this is probably just fine. Oh, my lower back hurts. I was messing with the tires on my daughter's car that said that was checking to see if there was a puncture or something like that. So I'm like, well, I don't want to go to the tire place, have them check it out, charge me for it, or deal with the drama of it. I'll just jack the car up. Let's just say that's an activity I'm not used to doing in it. And I got a lower back workout I hadn't counted on. Yeah, this is good. This is good. Nice. So is it wood or metal? Exactly. I like to paint things sometimes androgynously. You know, like my Africa Corps. Are they yellow vehicles that got whipped up by the sand and now, you know, the gray paint is showing? Or are they gray vehicles that just drove through there and got dusty? Or are they... Exactly. What do you want it to be? Where's my tweezer? Androgynous paint schemes. So you're probably ready for those guests to leave. How long did it take? An hour. You guys gotta leave. Oh, we got 3 more days to stay here. Damn it. Water this down just so you have better coverage. I don't think I'm ready to do the terrain yet. Like the big heavy terrain. That's like, I'm gonna wait till it's cold in the garage. Or cooler. Like, you know, November. Let's just work on one. Make sure that I don't have to fix up 2 things. I don't have to correct 2 things. Let's add a little bit more of this color. And one thing that makes a big difference if you're making things that are cut out of like stakes of wood or something like that, if you cut it through the middle, and make sure that the inside looks a little lighter, especially if it's something that's like bark colored. The inside needs to be, I've seen lots of people do stuff like they'll put like logs or something, like logs in particular. So you paint it like it's made of wood, but the center is like also covered in bark. Like, no, it needs to be a lighter color. Well, you can do whatever you want, but it doesn't look right to my eye. As you guys in Britain say, that doesn't look right to my eye. You guys say that, or you say to my mind? I may probably say both. Britishisms. Then we'll go. And I'm not going to go to a smaller brush. I think we're good with this. Remember, it's just made out of garbage. Kind of. Made out of stuff that's of little or no value. No. The one thing I haven't put any thought into yet. Color schemes of wall barriers on a racetrack. Maybe barriers is the wrong word. Okay, so we got red and white. I just want to see what they look like just to... I mean, any of them will work. Red and white seems like the obvious choice. Red and white seems like the obvious choice. Actually, I like that size brush. Like a no-nonsense mid-size type thing. Not too small, not spending a year to get it done. Definitely gonna need white. Let's use a craft red. This is cranberry. Nope. Tomato red, yep. I mean, I could use yellow too. Yellow doesn't cover worth a damn. Paint the whole thing white, or, you know, gray, as I like to say. I like making my own gray instead of using a pre-made gray. Have it. Just have it. All right, we're gonna need. Got any water around here? Some form or another. I don't, do I? I'll be right back. I gotta find that acronym thing that I made for the COPS. I'd already picked out what my COPS meant. You know, COPS. Carnage over people's, I think it's carnage over people's safety. I think COPS, that's what I had. That was the acronym I had for COPS. Carnage over, because carnage is a Gaslands word. I mean, hell, they even say rules of carnage. It's a Gaslands word. Carnage over people's safety. I think that's what it was. How big to do the stripes? You don't want to make them too small. It looks stupid then. And the obvious thing is to base them somewhere around the spacing of the barriers. I think that's kind of the obvious choice. I'm gonna make life easy on myself and use a different brush for the red. That should be plenty. Let's try not to contaminate this water. So, we split this and this and this and this, and definitely put the red in there. And then split it again, and split it again and again and again. I think let's start with that and see where that takes us. And we'll do more white than red. Not try to do some equal bands or something like that. You drive yourself crazy doing that. That's looking, the spacing on that is like great. That could be a little closer. Okay, this could be a little closer over here. This could be a little closer over here. And it's not perfect, and I don't want it to be. It takes a hell of a lot of effort to do it that way. Heck, I might not even like how it turns out, so why put a shitload of effort into it? I may decide I don't want to use red and white. Okay, now let's rinse this off over here. And let's do the same thing with this gray color. Now, craft paint works a lot better on things that are made of wood because the wood absorbs, and craft paint tends to be more waterier. More watery than regular paint. And yeah, we're specifically leaving brush strokes like this. It'll look better at a distance for starters. And I'm okay with using white to highlight the red because it's, you know, fade-ish. And we're probably going to put a thin black line between each one of the colors to make them pop out even more. Rain, ooh, it's ugly out there. Bring on the rain. We don't need it tomorrow. We got an outside job to do tomorrow. We don't need to rain tomorrow. Now, let me step away from this and see what this looks like. Just thought there's a tribe in Canada called the First Nation of Chuknyadung. Well, put them back for a while. Well, like put them back in for a while. Chuk nyak dung. Chuk chon chon nyak dung. That's actually what I like. What they use, I heard the Canadians call it for the first time. To the people that walked over the land bridge first. That's a little bit long-winded, but I like the term First Peoples. I like that. You know, I think that's a good term. I know it's a little tighter here than it is here. That's okay. It doesn't. Just trying to look at content. We need a little bit more white in it. I think we need. Chuk nyak dung. I heard something the other day. It was like the term Eskimo. Oh, it's offensive. I'm like, people just always looking for something to get upset about. Like, I like the term First Peoples, but the land bridge travelers. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe they don't teach that anymore. Never mind, that's the sound of somebody we buried in the wall. Nacho not done. Nacho not done. Nacho not done. Put it back in. That's right. Okay. That's not bad. It's not bad. Let's put a real vehicle. We have a finished vehicle we can put next to it. Let's see who's gonna be our guinea pig. Let's get the yellow bastard. The yellow bastard. I like how that looks. That's like, I'm really happy with that. That looks really good. I'll show you a picture of it. You guys probably seen dog shit on there, just because it's. Let's kill this. I like that. Made out of garbage, I like to say. We'll just make something out of nothing. I feel like the raceway is too boring. Like there's not enough stuff in the way. Ambiance, you know? All right, let's do it for real now. And by the way, how does this color look with the Figure-atively? Good, so I may end up using this mixture for the whole back of that. I'm probably gonna have to shut down this feed when my wife's visitor comes over. It's like a work social type thing, so I don't want to be rambling on, things here. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. We still need to paint some little rocks and things like this, but not bad. And again, this is something you can use every time you play. Every time you play, you can use, assuming you're playing in an environment like that. Yeah, it looks good up close. That's the thing, I gotta step away from it. Like, it looks good to me, but I'm like all up in it. Oh, lower back. Not this, just freaking changing tires, man. It was a lot of turns on a on that little jack that was in her car. All right, let's paint this overall. What did we do? Did we paint everything this color? They just did a little while ago. Maybe a little bit darker. Yeah, I think we painted everything this color too. I saw that today that Kurosan, who I've never bought anything from because they always seem to, when I was doing 15s, they always come out with stuff like after I've already made my choices or built the army. Oh. This is the stuff where you just start doing it. Don't cogitate like I don't know what I'm gonna just start fucking making it and just like paint your way out. And I gotta like self motivate myself sometimes to be that because you'd be so worried like, what if you don't like how it turns out? I said, well, think about it and then modify it as you go. Like I only painted one of these. I didn't know if I was gonna like it. Well, I like it. I'm like, fuck, I should have painted two of them. I think this will look. I think this will look the part. I mean, it might not be important to some people, but I want it to look good. It's like a diorama in action kind of thing. Man, those Ben, you weren't on here yesterday, but I don't think you were on here. You weren't on here very long, or you're silent or something. But anyways, I stumbled across a listing of the Dark Future miniatures, or maybe I was talking about it before anybody came on because it was like yesterday during lunch, during breakfast. I stumbled across a listing of all of many of the Dark Future like individual figures. And they're all sculpted by the Perrys, or at least one of the Perrys. You know, back when they did 20 millimeter stuff and 15 millimeter stuff. Because now they just do 28s or whatever. And that's what I was saying is Kurosan just put a post like, they're thinking about getting into 28 millimeter. And I'm like, have fun with that. I'm never doing 28 millimeter. But anyways, getting back to there was some really cool figures that they made. And, you know, they're kind of available. You could like buy them at some ridiculous price, like $45 for, you know, a pack of like 4 to 8 figures or whatever. I'm like, they're not that good, but they're really cool. I mean, they're like from '88, so that's like when, you know, Games Workshop was called Citadel. At least we called it Citadel. Oh, you saw something Dark Future? So that's why I'm doing this, because I wanted to play Dark Future in 1988. I was 17 and poor. And Dark Future didn't last very long. Like, they came out with all kinds of shit, and then they're like, nah, we don't want to do that shit no more. All right, so they've just pulled it, and nobody can play anymore. Now, the basic set that came with the Dark Future, like, those cars were kind of dorky, but the figures were cool. I mean, there's some stuff that's, you know, has some real appeal. And, you know, if I had to 3D print stuff, that's probably the first stuff I'd 3D print is the crews. If there's somebody out there that makes crews that I really like in that style, or, you know, the cobblestones, the cobblestone figures are great. They're a little bit bigger. They're a little bit bigger than 1/72nd, but very, very slightly. They're just more like, you know, like buff and shit, you know, and that's fine because these vehicles are really like 1/64th-ish. So, but supposedly, the unboxing that I did of the Implements of Carnage that I finally got around to getting, I don't want to steal my own thunder or ruin the whole plan, but they sent me the wrong Implements of Carnage, and I told them, hey, listen, what can you do about it? And they claim, I'm not saying they're not going to do it, but they said, I haven't gotten it yet, watch me get the same one twice, that they're going to send me the other one. So, you know, my thanks to them is going to be, I'm going to do an unboxing video showing them, like, that's how you treat customers. You know, they didn't have to do that. But it's also not the first time I purchased from them, and I didn't come at them swinging like a dick, like. And I mean, shit happens, when you've got a business with multiple people involved in it, and for some people, it's just a job. I know that I've worked with some people like that. Shit like that happens. But I specifically had ordered it for Implements of Carnage 1, and it's fairly expensive. I mean, it's over $30. It's like $35 if you just order that. Now, I ended up ordering the other figures with them, which were also expensive. So, I haven't told them yet. I don't know if they watch my video. They probably don't. But I'm going to do this is what I ordered, this is what went wrong, and this is how they fixed it. I figured they deserved that. That's, you can't, it goes both ways. It's a relationship. It's not like, the customer's always right and you need to get on your knees for me. It doesn't work that way. Like, they deserve to get credit for that if they make it right. Maybe it was the Old Hammer Fiction Podcast. They do free audiobooks on their feed, and they did one or two on the Dark Future books. I didn't know there were books. Huh. I suspect it's heavily influenced by Mad Max, which I still haven't seen. I tried to watch the first movie. I think I'm halfway through it. I just lost interest. It just got too... What's the word I'm thinking about? Too... predictable. It was just really weird. Some things don't age well. Like when I ended up watching Escape from New York, I started watching Escape from New York a long time ago. I didn't finish watching it until 2 years ago. A year or 2 years ago or something like that. And it's just like it did not age well. I was talking about this yesterday. I saw a clip of some movie from the 70s, maybe even the early 70s. I don't remember what the name of it was. It was something very unassuming sounding. Ooh, I like what we're doing with this color like this. And it was about a car that chased people down. And it wasn't Christine. It wasn't anything. It wasn't Maximum Overdrive. It was something else. It was called The Car or something like that. There's some Lincoln. The car looked pretty cool, honestly. It's like, that'd be a good Gaslands vehicle. And obviously it looked extremely dated. But I'm probably one of the few, if only, person doing things for Gaslands that has not seen all of Mad Max. I just never got around to seeing it. But Dark Future, when I saw that game, I'm like, this looks really cool. And, it was out of print before I ever got any funds to do it. Not that I would have afforded to buy it at the time, but never got a chance to play it. Same thing with their little ship game, whatever it was called. Their fantasy ship game thing. First one, it's your favorite of the Mad Max films. Does a bit of weird vibe to it. The gang, man, the people in the gang are just like, odd. Not what I was expecting, a bit flamboyantly weird. It's a rated R movie, right? Like there's that scene where I guess they go. I forget what the shtick of the guys in the gang is, but they had the guy and the girl or whatever. Like at some part of the movie where they go and they ambush him, and they're like they don't kill the guy. I don't know if they take him for a ride or something like that. It's kind of like left up to like, I wonder if this guy they showed him a good time or something. I don't know, but they let him live. So it's like it's just weird. It's just really weird. The writing in it is very odd, almost like some kids in high school came up with it or wrote it or something. I don't remember who it was. It was like there was like a guy and a girl that were on a date, and they like the gang like chases them down, and they're like, okay, well, they're done for, and like they let them. I think they take the girl and then have their way with. It makes it seem like they have their way with their kid, with the boy or whatever, and it was just weird. I'm like, this is just like going in all directions at once. It's just, I don't think he was a cop. They were in like some like 1950s type car on a date or something like that. Was the car red? And they like cut the car into pieces or something. I don't know. They didn't. I saw it. I was trying to watch it about a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, and it just didn't grab me. I still don't even know who the hell Mad Max is. Was it a bad guy? Was it Mel Gibson's character? I don't know. That's how little of it I've watched. You know, I wasn't enthused by any of the vehicles that were in it. You know, there wasn't none of the vehicles like grabbed me.
Turning on the vacuum for 10 seconds. All done.
Hey, honey. I will tell her that. Probably going to add some bolts on here where it's bolted onto this thing, and then we'll drip some rust and shit on there. Well, not shit, but stoof. Dusted. Yeah, definitely a Britishism. It's fine, it's just awkward. It's like, you know, it just sounds like you're like the cleaning crew, you know, you're like the. Done and dusted. Okay, what in the Mary Poppins are you talking about? Yeah, we could safely go to this. Coloration. Ah, son of a biscuit eater. Alright, no big deal. And I haven't seen the new Mad Max. So you think the old Mad Max is better than the new ones? Who's in that? Tom Hardy? I don't really like Tom Hardy. I think he's a good actor. I just don't. I guess he was okay at this. What's that guy? Cade. What's his name? Wade. The citizens of Gotham. That guy. Whatever his name was. Cade. I don't know shit about it. I'm not a comic nerd. Have that guy as the announcer for this. Oh, I got a nice fade here without really wanting one. Kind of wasted. Let's ruin it. Citizens of Gaslands, welcome to the race. It's like, dude, God needs to eat some prunes, man. All right. The sound of constipation. All right, let's do the same drill again. I bet it's even with the post. The problem is that the posts aren't exactly even with anything else. Let's scooch them farther together. What was that character's name? Watched a bit of the reboot and tapped out. It's far too over the top. Okay. I like the first one because, while it's a bit wacky, it's still kind of grounded as it is during Civilization Falls Apart. Okay. Yeah, it looks like from the commercials I've seen that the remake is very like Borderlands. Tom Hardy Batman character. What is this? I'm going to be like, oh yeah, it's that. Bane. Bane, that's right. Well, I'm not a comic book person. How the hell am I supposed to remember that? The Mumble guy in the new ones is the same actor as the main bad guy in the original. Toe Cutter. I guess I need to watch it. I haven't given up on it. I haven't given it up, but I didn't hate it. It was just the only part the gang was just too weird. It was just too weird. Like they just it's like it's a gang of like child molesters or something like that instead of dreadnoughts. Should have been like dreadnoughts. Do you know what that is? Well, you're not from the 1980s. Like, it's already Australia. It should be like dreadnoughts. And that's probably where they got their idea from, the dreadnoughts from, I would imagine, is from Mad Max. Mad Max, what, like 76? Something like that? Yeah, the new Mad Max. All I think about is those little like I don't even know what they are. Are they like RPGs or whatever? Like these like little stakes with like dynamite on them or something like that. Like little like fire and forget. Eat one of these, pal. But they had one guy in this set. I'll show you this now. That reminded me of what some of the characters in I think I saved it. I may not have. Again. Dark Future Miniature. Did the whole listing. Yeah, here it is. Like this is what I was talking about, this whole listing here. And they had a couple of guys that they even had like cultists. A couple guys here that look like they'd be pretty cool. Guy with a Mexican hat. I really don't have much of a use for any of the cops. They're too like traditional, and that's what I said. I was talking about yesterday. I don't know if the cops are the cops that I want in this game, and I think that's what it was. They were carnage over people's safety. Whether they're ex cops or wannabe cops or they're pretending to be cops that everybody else thinks they're police officers, but they're really not. But they're definitely dirty because they're either regular racers, which are, regular racers are definitely dirty. Criminals, felons. They're convicted felons and their conviction is to, play in a gladiatorial car combat. If I remember correctly, they repackaged some Dark Future chaps with paranoia sculpts for random gang packs for their pre-Necromunda Rogue Traders stuff. I really like the 20mm scale. It's not really a scale, but I really like that size. You can use die-cast vehicles. It's not too big. It's not too small. I know that it's traditionally a British size, but you guys should have stuck to your guns and said, no, we're not making 28mm for you stupid Americans, and just kept making 20mm stuff. And I definitely do not subscribe to the thing as wargamers get older, they need bigger figures because they can't see as well. If these figures were 40mm, I'd still have to take my contacts out. I want to see things clearly regardless of how big they are. I don't want to paint them shittily,
Kentucky.
Hmm?
You see her okay?
Okay. All right, I'm going to sign off. We have a guest here that I don't want to be rambling odd stuff out here. So we'll see you guys maybe.